Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah. Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah. Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadihi alladhina astafa. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad an-nabiy al-ummi wa ala alihi wa sallim taslima. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad adada ma fi ilmillah salatan daimatan bidawami mulkillah. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina wa syafi'ina wa sanadina wa habibina wa maulana Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbana yassir ولا تعسر تمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح. اللهم اجعلنا دعاة إليك وإلى رسولك. اللهم فقهنا في الدين وعلمنا القرآن الحكيم. ربنا زدنا علما. This is the meeting of Maulana Rumi and Hazrat Tabrizi. Subhanallah, sometimes we think that we know, sometimes we think that we have the ilm and the knowledge. Listen to who Maulana Rumi was. In the words of Maulana Hakim Akhtar Sahib, rahimahullah, rahmatul alayh. He said, listen, dear friends, to the story of Maulana Rumi, who was generally involved with teaching Dars and Tadris, while being unaware of the ways of the path of Suluk, being involved with Uloom al-Zahiriyya, external knowledge at all times. His lecturing pursuits had become famous all around, while for him hard was the contact with the path. For arrogance through knowledge keeps the men of knowledge far, far away from recognizing the truth. For the main object of all knowledge is to attain divine love. Apart from that, all is mere conceit. But on him, on whom Allah's grace shines, one day or another, he will become Allah's favorite. In this way, Allah's grace shone on Maulana Rumi, and from the unseen, Allah's help reached him. All achievements come about through divine grace, and without his favor, nothing comes about. From the unseen world, Rumi was chosen. Tabrizi prayed to the Lord, Ya Rab, O Lord, this fire of love burning in my heart, this restless longing which lies in me, this fire of truth which is buried in my heart, and all that was granted to me. O Lord, Ya Rabb, let there be such a bondsman of thine, who in true fashion will be suitable to inherit, that his heart may become filled with truth, and that I may fill his being with pearls of wisdom. Let me find such an heir, a warith, who will be able to bear the burden of the fire of love in him. For the burning love within myself is like Mount Tur of love in the heart. Ya Rabb, near indeed is for me the time of parting. To whom shall I leave this amanat and trust? O beloved, from the unseen came the immediate reply. O Shams Tabriz, hasten towards Rome. Go and make Maulana Rumi the master of Rome. Let him become unoccupied with the affairs of Rome. Thus, at the command of the unseen, Shams proceeded towards Rome as commanded from on high. As he cast his sight and nazar upon Maulana Rumi, unconscious he fell down on the path. Forgotten were the robes of knowledge. Hungry and thirsty was he to be successful on the path. At one time, Maulana Rumi was known as a man of dignity and splendor, the one endowed with the special connections of Khawarizm Shah, and also endowed with being a master of knowledge. Whenever he had to go anywhere, speedily was brought for him the royal sedan, and ready for him were soldiers, servants, and students who in honor and respect accompanied him. He was used to having his hands and feet kissed, and on all sides he used to be crowded. Today he fell down unconscious. Through divine love, he discarded all signs of pomp and splendor. What a glance was thrown on him by Shams Tabriz, and through that he became a leader of the path. When the Pir of Rome regained consciousness, he followed the footsteps of Shams Tabrizi, taking his sheikh's bedding on his head as he walked, having bought the humility of love. When does divine love keep a transitory world, all that became lost in the dust? For the honor of divine love is everlasting honor, and its ecstasy is ecstasy forever. And upon Jalaluddin Rumi, there was the full effect, the influence of Shams Tabriz. And Shams Tabriz filled the heart of Rumi with burning love and yaqeen. From the hands of the Sheikh, whatever bounty he found, the Masnawi is filled with gratitude for that. Look from what to what Shams transformed Rumi. Through their liaison and company, wonders resulted. It is through the spiritual bounty of Shams that without fear, Rumi could dance around with turban tied. Such an effect was had on the Pir Rumi, as he explains in the Masnawi without any fear, that Shams Tabriz was a light complete. He was the sun, and he was the lights of truth. In the Masnawi, the fire of Tabriz burns. The meanings are Tabriz, the words Rumis. What did Rumi acquire from the hands of Tabriz? Asterisk of Rumi himself. But I say, oh my friends, search for it yourself in the Masnawi. Sheikh Akhtar's thoughts, rahmatullah alayhi. Hazrat Sheikh Hakim Akhtar Sahib, nawwarallahu marqadahu wa nafa'ana bi ulumihim ameen. He said, one day my ship will also cast its anchor. One day we will passionately see Makkah and Medina. Although the mine of love is in every heart, however, it cannot be discovered without blood and sweat. Good God, these blossoming springs of evolution of love, my bosom feels like a river of fire. O tears of repentance, may I be sacrificed over your favors. This treasure of mercy has rained upon a sinner. The condition of success is some kind attention of the man of love, their tawajjuh. The condition of success is some kind of tawajjuh and attention of the men of love. Otherwise, this gem of love cannot be had. Akhtar, I do agree that there are calamities in the path of love. But through His grace, sakina and tranquility descends as well. And so we come to part one. This book of deep-hearted pain, O friends, I have written solely for the true lovers. On every page, I have shed the blood of my heart. On every page, I have cried of my heartache in the love of Allah Ta'ala. I have removed the veil from a hidden ache, thereby increasing the pain in the hearts of the lovers of Allah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. The story of the Sahabi of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Ja'far at-Tayyar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Maulana Rumi alayhi rahmah states, it is a well-known fact that the fox is noted for its cowardice. However, the fox, which has the lion as support behind its back, saying to him, fear not, my hand is upon your back. In spite of lacking courage, the fox becomes very brave indeed. His newfound bravery is of such a nature that he will not hesitate to attack a leopard. He now has the support of a lion at his side. He will show no fear for a leopard. Similarly is the case of the chosen servants of Allah. In spite of their apparent weakness and distressed position, they show no fear in the face of a multitude of evil forces. These saintly ones do experience some natural fear of physical hurt or injury, but at heart, they have no fear of anyone besides Allah. As Sufi says, O people, look not upon my weakly countenance, for I have legs of iron. Do you know that within my heart I am connected to the King of Kings. In this regard, Maulana Rumi, rahmatullah alayhi, tells the story of Hazrat Jafar, radiyallahu ta'ala an. Says Maulana Rumi, once Hazrat Jafar, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, attacked a fortress all by himself. His attack was so fierce that it seemed that the fortress would soon become a prey to the hooves of his horse. The inmates of the fortress were so struck by awe that they closed the gates of the fortress and no one dared to come out to engage him in battle. The king discussed with his wazir as to what line of action is to be adopted. The wazir advised him the best line of action is to cancel all plans of making war against the man. It is best to take your kafan, your shroud, and your weapon and meet him and then to throw down your weapon. The king replied, but this man is all by himself. How is it that you give me such advice? The wazir informed him, do not underestimate his being one man only. Open your eyes and look at the fortress and see how it trembles like quicksilver. Look at the inmates of the fortress and see how their heads are bent downwards like sheep. Even though the man is alone, the heart which he has in his breast is not like the hearts of ordinary men. Look at his brave courage, that in the face of a vast multitude of opponents, he challenges them into battle with a naked sword in his hand, and in a confident and victorious manner calls them to fight. It seems that all the battle forces of the east and the west are with him. One man alone, but he appears like hundreds of thousands. Do you not see that whichever soldiers are sent out to fight him are soon seen lying under the hooves of his horse? When I had seen the great individuality of this man, O king, I realized that this multitude of soldiers which are with you will not be able to do anything against him. Do not rely upon numbers. The main thing is the unity of the heart. And this is actually what is so striking about the heart of this man. In this respect, he has been endowed endlessly with it. This is a gift from Allah, which is attained through the acquisition of contact with him and through rigorous spiritual exercises. This connection you will not be able to attain while you are in the state of kufr. Hence it is best for you to throw down your weapons in defeat before the courageous believer and to open the gates of the fortress, because your large number of soldiers are of no use. Then Maulana Rumi alayhi rahmah gave examples of where in the face of a minority the majority becomes useless. Example 1, Maulana Rumi says, millions of stars are shining and produce light, but at the rising of the sun their light becomes non-existent. Example 2, if 1,000 mice should attack a weak and sickly cat, it would appear that they would be victorious in their endeavor. A few of them can grab him by the neck. 1 or 2 of them can take his eyes out. 1 or 2 of them can tear off his ears with the teeth. 1 or 2 of them can make an opening at his side, enter and begin chewing the internal organs. that would appear to be reasonable to accept. However, experience has shown otherwise. As soon as the weak and sickly cat utters one meow, the whole multitude of mice become awestruck, and one by one they flee to safety. The moment they hear the meow, they become convinced of their being vanquished, and visualizing the actions of the cat's teeth and paws makes them flee. The main reason for this is the major difference between the hearts in the breast of the mice and the heart in the breast of the cat. The unity of the heart in the cat and the courage lying in it is not found in the mice. Hence, the mice becoming confounded and defeated in the presence of the cat is proof thereof that the cat possesses unity of heart and courage. Otherwise, it would appear that if a large number of mice should attack the cat, it will be impossible for the cat to escape. Hence, we conclude that even if the number of mice were 100,000, still seeing a weak and sickly cat will cause all of them to run away. This proves that numbers mean nothing. The main thing is unity of the heart and courage. Example 3. The sheep and goats may be numerous in number, but in the face of the knife of the dhabih and slaughterer, that number is of no consequence. Example 4. Sleep comes along and causes many thoughts and imaginations to be put out of the mind. Example 5. The lion in the forest courageously attacks a multitude of animals with horns, and one alone gets the upper hand over them. Furthermore, whichever animal he chooses from among them, he eats. Lesson, al-ibra. Allah, Maliki Yawmiddin, Malikul Muluk, the King of Kings, is the one who grants this unity of heart and such courage. Our hearts lie between the two fingers of Ar-Rahman, yukallibuha kayfa yasha. He is in control of the hearts. Ya muqallib al-qulub, thabbit qulubana ala dinik. Allahumma musarrif al-qulub, sarrif qulubana ala ta'atik. Allah, the King of Kings, is the one who grants this unity of heart and such courage. This unity of the heart is of two kinds. One is natural or common, possessed by the non-believers, polytheists, and even animals. So natural, it is arm and general. And the other form of unity of the heart is that which is granted by Allah and comes about through the blessings of close contact with Allah. This is what the Sufis term as nisbat, for which one has to strive and be on the path of suluk. It is a great favor from Allah to have contact and nisbat with Him, and there is only one way of attaining this contact, and that is through following the Sharia. Imam Rumi then goes on to speak the story of Sultan Mahmud Ghaznawi. One night, Sultan Mahmud Ghaznawi, alayhi rahmah, went walking among his subjects after taking off his royal clothes and putting on ordinary clothes. He chanced to come upon a group of thieves who were consulting amongst themselves. On seeing him, they asked him, "Who are you?" The king, the Sultan Mahmud al-Ghaznawi alayhi rahmah replied, "I am also one like yourselves." Look at the hikmat jawab. They understood that to mean that he was also a thief like themselves and allowed him to join their company. They then continued the conversation amongst themselves, and it was decided that each of them should explain what speciality or skill he possesses, so that at the time of need, a task could be put before him to show that special skill. One of the thieves said, "Friends, I have a special gift in my ears, that whenever a dog barks, I fully understand what he says." The second one said, "I have a special gift in my eyes, that whatever I see in the darkness of night, I am able to recognize it in the light of the day." The third one said, "I have the speciality in my arms, that through the strength that lies in my arms, I can make a hole in the strongest wall to enter a house." The fourth one said, "I have a special gift in my nose, that by smelling the sand on the ground, I am able to ascertain whether there is any treasure buried underneath it or not." It is just like in the case of Majnoon, who, without being told, merely by smelling the ground, got to know where Layla was buried. The fifth one said, "I have such strength in my hands that no matter how high a building is, I can climb along its walls with my rope, ladder, and easily enter the building in this manner." Thereafter they all asked the king, "O man, what special gift do you possess which we can make use of in our thieving activities?" The king replied, "I have the speciality in my beard, that when criminals are handed over to their executioner, I merely shake my beard, and such criminals are immediately set free." In other words, if as a show of mercy I shake my beard, the criminals are found guilty. The criminals found guilty of murder, they are set free. And hearing this, the thief said, "O dear Qutb, on the day of difficulty, you will be our only means of salvation." In other words, if we are arrested, then through your blessings we will be saved. Now we do not have to fear, because the rest of us had the special gifts which would help us in our thieving exploits. But none of us had the means of granting safety from punishment. The speciality lies only with you. Now we need not have any fear of punishment. Now we can get on with our work. They all went in the direction of the palace of Shah Mahmud al-Ghaznawi, the Sultan, with the king in their midst. Along the way, a dog barked, and the one who understood the dog's language translated, "The king is also in your midst." Although they heard it, no one paid any attention to this information, as their greed was uppermost in their minds. One of them smelled the ground and explained that this is the royal palace. There is a treasure in this place. The other one threw a rope and ladder against the wall. The other one made a hole in the wall, and then they all entered to burgle. Afterwards, they divided the loot amongst themselves, and hastily each one of them went to hide his share of the spoils. The king noted each one's description and found out where each of them resided. He left them and secretly re-entered the royal palace. The following day, the king related the entire story to his courtiers, and thereafter he sent the policemen to arrest them and to inform them of their death sentence. When they were brought before the court with hands bound together, they were all trembling in fear before the king's throne. However, the thief, who had the special gift of recognizing anybody during the day whom he had seen during the darkness, was quite at ease. He was at ease. In him, together with the signs of fear, there were also signs of hope. In other words, although he was struck by awe while standing before the king, and although fearing the king's wrath and revenge, he also had the hope that the king would be true to his word, that when in mercy he shakes his beard, criminals will be set free. Furthermore, he also had the rope of setting free. Furthermore, he also had the hope of setting free all his companions, because the king will surely not turn away from all those whom he knew and recognized. This person's face was changing from yellow to red, as within himself the feelings of fear and hope alternated. Sultan Mahmud al-Ghaznawi, in kingly dignity, passed judgment, and they all should be handed over to the executioner to be hung on the gallows. As the king himself was witness to their crime, there was no need for any other witnesses. As soon as the king announced his judgment, this person appealed in great humility, "Sire, with your permission, may I say something?" The king permitted him to speak, and he said, "O master, each one of us had exhibited his special gift, which helped in this crime. Now it is time that the kingly speciality should be exhibited according to the promise. I have all the while recognized you. Remember, you had promised that in your beard there is this speciality, that if you cause it to move in mercy, the criminal will be saved from punishment. Hence, O king, shake your beard, so that through the blessings of your grace, all of us can be saved from the punishment of our crimes. Our specialities have brought us to the gallows. Now it is only your special gift that is left, which can save us from being punished. Now is the time for the exhibition of your speciality. Kindly shake your beard. Because of fear, our lives have reached right up to our mouths. Please, please, save us with the special gift that lies in your beard." Sultan Mahmud alayhi rahmah smiled at the plea and became filled with mercy and grace as he heard their pitiful admission of guilt. He said, "Each one of you have exhibited this special quality to such an extent that it has brought you to the brim of destruction, except in the case of this one. He recognized me as the Sultan. This one saw me in the darkness of the night and recognized me as the Sultan. Hence, for his having recognized me, I set all of you free. I feel ashamed at those eyes which recognize me, not to shake my beard. I feel ashamed at those eyes which recognize me, not to shake my beard and thereby exhibit my special quality." Al-Ibra, the lesson. The first lesson contained in this story is that while a person is committing a crime, the true King of Kings is with him. وَهُوَ مَعَكُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ and is fully aware of all that He does. Allah says in the Quran, and He is with you wherever you are. وَهُوَ مَعَكُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ. When a person commits any disobedience to Allah, he is actually committing treachery against Him. Anyone who fails in his duty to Allah or in the rights which are due to men is like a thief committing theft of Allah's treasures. For this reason, one should always bear in mind that the Master is the witness, seeing us at all times. Wallahu basirum bima ta'malun, and is aware of all that we do. If we commit any disobedience or iniquity, it means that in His very presence, His treasury is being looted and robbed in His very presence. Think for a moment, whom are you robbing? That king and master tells you, I am seeing what you do. I am with you. My laws have been revealed to you. Today you are breaking that law. Today in this world I will hide your fault, hoping that perhaps you will come upon the right road. But if you do not come to your senses, then tomorrow on the day of Qiyamah, when you will be brought before me with hands bound together, then who will be able to save you from my anger and revenge? The second lesson from this story is that Allah will punish the sinners in the hereafter. Although He may initially overlook them in this world, we see that at the time the thieves were looting the royal treasury, the Sultan witnessed the entire incident, but he left them alone. He was with them and allowed them proceed without being punished. However, in the end, He had them arrested. If at all times this thought is uppermost in our minds, that Allah sees all our deeds, then there will surely be fear in the heart against commission of sins. The third lesson from this story is that on the day of Qiyamah, no special quality will be of any benefit. All those deeds which contravene the laws of Allah will on the day of Qiyamah be bound around man's neck, even though in this world they were considered as being special qualities. The thieves mentioned those special gifts and qualities as if they were qualities of virtue, but in reality, those very qualities were the cause of their destruction. Each one of them exhibited their special quality, but all their qualities only caused their misfortune to increase. Any special quality which does not bring a person nearer to his Creator and which does not connect the heart to Allah and which is not a medium towards the zikr of Allah is not a quality of virtue. In fact, it is a curse and a misfortune. All the powers and attributes of man which are used in rebellion against Allah and towards disobedience and negligence will one day cause them to be brought forth before Allah as a criminal. All those nations who have made great progress and through scientific inventions have made this world subservient to them, but turn away from Allah, passing their lives in disobedience, will realize on the day of Qiyamah whether that speciality of scientific progress had been the cause of receiving Allah's grace or His anger. Rumi says, "Blessed be to you the subjugation of the sun and the moon, but if there is no light in the heart, there is no light anywhere." The fourth lesson from this story is that no special quality will be of any benefit except that which leads towards marifat of Allah, recognition. Just like the person who, having seen the Sultan, recognized him, and through this special quality, he not only saved himself, but was also able to intercede on behalf of his companions. As for his other companions, their special quality became a means towards earning Allah's punishment. Rumi says, only the sight of the fortunate one was of any use, who recognized the Sultan during the darkness of night. The lesson derived is that this world, this dunya, is like a place of darkness. In the darkness of this world, every servant of Allah who follows the divine laws of the Sharia and through its blessings recognizes Allah will be provided with salvation against the punishment of the hellfire on the day of Qiyamah. This marifah, this recognition, will also be a means towards shafa'at and intercession on behalf of other criminals from among the sinners of the people of Iman. However, there should not be any pride and overconfidence in this recognition and marifah. In fact, one should alternate between fear and hope, and in utmost humility beg and beg for this intercession. Then Allah will accept this intercession from whomsoever He wishes according to His mercy. For those whom He will not accept this intercession, for those whom He will not accept this intercession, He will in perfect justice and adalat exhibit His overwhelming vengeance. Hence, fortunate indeed is the person who in this world created within himself the knowledge of recognizing Allah. The arifin, the true knowers and recognizers of Allah, who through their spiritual efforts and exercises recognize Allah with their souls, will tomorrow on the day of Qiyamah, they will see Allah and attain salvation. Furthermore, their shafa'at and intercession on behalf of other sinners will also be accepted. But the disbelievers and criminals will through their special qualities be admitted into Jahannam. On that day, these poor starving ones with pale faces, patched and coarse clothing, who today are being ridiculed and jeered at, will feast their eyes upon the countenance of Allah. On that day, the criminals will envy them. Would that we had lived like them in the world and acquired their qualities. Would that we had recognized Allah properly. And the last lesson, which is the fifth lesson, is this, that the story also illustrates the high position these righteous and saintly ones have as far as their humanity is concerned. But what a pity it is that nations and people, just like those thieves, spend their short span of worldly lives looking upon means of delight and comfort as special gifts of accomplishment, and look upon material progress as being actual progress, whereas on the other hand, they have adopted uncouth habits like urinating while standing, cleansing themselves with paper after defecating without water. They also consider it normal to take a bath sitting in a tub and allow the water, which had become dirty through being in contact with the anus, to be drawn into their mouth and nose. They consider these actions as the norms of society. Can such people ever be considered to be cultured and people of progress? What a pity it is that the beloved cultural ways of Muslims should be cast aside and that such despicable ways of these people should be adopted. Hazrat makes dua in the end. Ya Allah, let just rulers be appointed to rule over us, who will introduce thy laws and punish those who neglect salat, consume alcohol, gamble, commit zina, adultery, steal, etc. Let them punish those women who refuse to observe the rules of parda. Let him order the closure of cinema houses, prostitution quarters, and liquor houses. Ameen. Thumma ameen. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Nastaghfiruk wa natubu ilaik. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wassalamun alal mursaleen. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Social expectation drowns us all inside. What you have should be what I want, 'cause what I have just ain't alright. The clothes I wear, the way I comb my hair, how I live, oh I don't care. This is who I am, this is me.